everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we're really excited today. We're talking with actor Keir Kirkegaard today. We really enjoyed him in The Happy Camper, and we're excited for his new movie, Just Jake, coming out on UPTV. And Keir, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we saw you first in Happy Camper, and when we were live, I was looking at the IMDb, and I'm like, oh, this very interesting name. So I think I'll start out with that. That is a very unique name that you have.
Yes. Yeah. It's I joke that it's like someone sneezed and hit a keyboard. It is just a mess of letters. I used all the K's and A's. So sorry to anyone else that can't have K's and A's in their name. No, it's my parents' names are Don and Deb. But we're all Danish, Norwegian, Scandinavian. So it was really important to them for us to have like Danish names. So they found our names out of a Danish name book. And I'm Keir. My brother is Yarend, goes by Yar, and the other one is Kian.
Okay, so you didn't do a Soren. They didn't do a
no Soren Kierkegaard. No. If there was going to be a fourth, I think it was going to be Kel. So that probably would have stepped away from the Norwegian names. But yeah, no, it's and I remember in college I had a lot of professors that were like, you need a stage name, you need to change your name, no one's going to know how to pronounce it. And I was like, no, it's fine, like they'll learn and it'll be what it'll be. And so I'm happy that I never went that route because I love my name.
Well, I mean, it's going to stand out, be memorable.
If anything else, once people learn how to spell it or say it, then we're good. Yeah.
I mean, and this doesn't even fall true anymore, but it used to be just if there was somebody else in the union with your same name, then they would suggest you changing your name. But that's obviously not going to be the case with you.
Yeah. First and last name. I don't think there's another Keir Kirkegaard, so I think we're good. There's a couple Kiers.
Oh, I'm sure.
But no Keir Kirkegaards. So.
But it must have been rough when you ever wanted to find anything with like name personalization or whatever. Like you can't find a Keir Kirkegaard.
No
keychain.
No, and my middle name is Steven, so pretty plain. Yeah, pretty plain. But what's funny is Starbucks order. I tried Keir for a long time, and then finally at one point when I was out in LA, I got like a QUER with 2 dots over the U, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be Steven from now on at Starbucks. And then when I get like, hey, what's your name, Steven? And they go, is that a PH or a V? I'm like, I don't care. Just pick one. It's not even my real first name. So
That's funny.
Yeah, no, my wife is Andrea and she goes by Andy. So A-N-D-I. So she had a hard time ever finding an A-N-D-I growing up too. So we're both kind of in the same boat on that.
Yeah. Did you feel like obligated to take a class on Kierkegaard in college?
If I was going to lie to you, I'd say, oh, absolutely. I know lots about Soren. If I want to tell the truth, I don't know anything about him. Every time someone's like, oh, Kierkegaard, huh? I'm like, I need to learn about it.
Yeah, it's not a bad read. I was a political science emphasis philosophy in college, and so I read quite a bit of Kierkegaard. I actually was a TA for the class, so wow. Yeah, so I know. Well, I mean, I'm no expert, but I know a little bit about Kierkegaard.
Okay, well, maybe instead next time we'll just have a Kierkegaard podcast, and then I'll learn. It'd be great.
All right, put in the comments if y'all would like to hear. But he does have some really interesting ideas about if you're gonna have faith, you have to have the perfect leap of faith, is what he calls it. That it's illogical to like halfway believe. You have to go all the way. Like a perfect dancer's leap. And it has a lot of some other interesting ideas. So yeah, you should check it out. Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Finally convinced me.
It's too bad we didn't talk about this during the pandemic, because that would have been perfect time for you to study up on your Kierkegaard.
What a strange thing.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we have a 7-month-old upstairs, and we talk about that quite a bit of like, it's going to be so strange to educate him on
Yeah.
that period of time. Like, because I'm not even sure that any of us fully comprehend exactly what we went through. It's a very strange time. But anyways.
Yeah. I was thinking about that I, for a long time, it was like, oh, we don't want to have the pandemic in movies and TV and things like that. And I'm like, I'm ready to process that whole experience through my art. It's time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so
So,
strange going through and watching some TV shows that were like the first ones to come back.
yeah.
All the mask mandates, and you've got every background actor wearing masks, whether it's part of like the act on the time that they were there, or if that was really the mandate. And they, it's very strange to be like, oh yeah, the entire world was doing that at the same time for a long time.
Yeah. Well, so we love it learning about the backstory of our actors that we talked to, but how did you kind of get started, or what inspired you to get into acting, get on this path?
Man, I have always been a little bit more musical, like driven. I've always loved to sing. I was a soccer player growing up. Like that's all I really wanted to do all the way through high school, until by the time it got time to go to college, it was like, I gotta choose one, either like musical theater or soccer, which is a strange choice to choose between. But at that point, I had rolled my ankles so many times in soccer, and I was like, I don't know, I'll do musical theater. And then so by the time I went to college, I actually went in with an education and an acting double, with the intention of being a teacher, because I think I had a lot of really influential teachers growing up, and that made a really big impact on me, and I wanted to pass that on. Fast forward to fourth year of college, and it was time for me to go do my 6 months of student teaching, and I just didn't have the heart for it anymore. I was like, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to do it. So I finished out my acting major, picked up a musical theater major, finished that in 2 years versus 4. And then that was it. But yeah, growing up, always loved to sing. I was always doing plays and stuff during middle school and high school, and kind of fitting that in between soccer. And thankfully, I think I made the right choice. I had a really fun career.
Yeah, I was seeing on your IMDb, you had in your bio that you are a musical theater guy, which makes me very excited because I absolutely love musical theater. And it said that you were in Mamma Mia, was a national tour or something
Mamma
like that?
Mia was the Hollywood Bowl.
Okay, yeah.
So it's that experience. I don't know if I'll ever want to relive that experience, but it was an incredible experience. It's 2 weeks in and out from day one to last performance. Mamma Mia, I don't know if others are familiar, but the book for Mamma Mia is like this, and that's just the song book. And you got the actual book too, like, and it's so much content, 8 to 10 hours a day. You get 1 day off in that 2 weeks, and it is crazy. But to perform in front of 18,000 people at the Hollywood Bowl is an experience I will never forget. I mean, it's insane. It's
were
so
you
many
Sky?
people.
Were you playing
No,
Sky?
so they brought in Corbin Blue to play Sky, actually.
Okay.
So Hollywood Bowl, they always bring in like pretty big names to come in and play all the leads. And so I was just one of the ensemble roles in there, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It was a musical I was never into, and then I was in it, and I was like, oh, that's why people love this. It's just a party. It is. Fun.
Yeah, I mean, the story is not the greatest. It's not like they have to really work to bring in these ABBA songs into the plot. Yep. For jukebox musical, but I think they succeed. I enjoy it. I have a good time with it. I'm not there for Shakespeare. It's fine.
I tried really hard, and I think I can appreciate Shakespeare, but I don't like it. I've done a few Shakespeare in the Park kind of things, and it's just it's pulling teeth for me. I can watch it, and the people that really get it and know how to interpret it and bring it into a language that makes sense. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I've got some great friends from college that are so good at interpreting the language and still honoring it, but like it makes sense when they do it. And then when I do it, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying.
We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies Podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
We can't all be Kenneth Branagh.
It's true.
Try.
True. We can certainly try though.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, certainly I enjoy the comedies, I think, more than the histories or the tragedies. Like Much Ado About Nothing, this 12th Night. Those are probably my favorites.
Sure.
Yeah. But
musical theater is my jam though. That's where I'm at. So Hollywood Bowl, I did one of my first, so I moved out to LA in 2010 and I was like, oh, I'm just going to do TV film. It'll be fine. Tough.
Yeah.
Really hard getting into a door in LA. That's the thing I didn't expect, was like getting that opportunity to get to be told no is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Much less booking it. So then oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, do you think it's easier now with self-taping to get that foot in the door than it used to be?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know if it's the evolution of self-taping or if it's just the evolution of how many platforms there are now. But with the growth in platforms and the growth in content that's being made, there's also been an exponential growth in people trying to do it. And one of the beautiful and most frustrating things about acting is there are no prerequisites. There's no rules. I went to school. I have 2 degrees in it. I've been doing it since musical theater. I was alongside somebody when I was doing a job one day. And they're like, oh yeah, I was a baseball player. This is my first acting job. And I'm like, and we're in the exact same place.
Right.
But there's no rules. Especially when it comes to TV film acting. Yes, there is a skill set and knowledge, but one of the hardest things is just to be natural and understand how to just be a person on camera. And some people just get it. So I don't really know why I went down that road, but harder to get into.
Just about self-tape.
Yeah. I think the biggest benefit of self-tape is actually in the musical theater world.
Interesting.
There's been a lot of times that I was in LA and I had to fly to New York to go do like a second callback, not even a final callback. And then with the evolution of self-tapes and everything like that, it's like you can do every piece of it through a self-tape now. I've even booked stuff for musical theater off of self-tapes, not even going in person at all. But at least the big benefit is like, no, you can see everything you need to see until that final callback when you need somebody in person. So it's been a nice change for that world, I think.
What do you do for your backtrack when you're doing a musical theater self-tape?
Man, some companies are really good and they send you backing tracks. And this has been true before even pandemic. Some companies get it and they hire a pianist and they say, great, lay down this track for me. I'll send it out to everybody. And some don't. Some are like, basically figure it out. Here's some links that you can go pay somebody to do a recording for you. You can find a good karaoke track. That part of it is tricky, but I think post-pandemic, it's become more the norm for people to be able to include some of that stuff for you, which is nice.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So you were in Rock of Ages, and I've never seen that show.
Oh,
I've seen the movie, but
talking about a jukebox musical that's successful, that's the most fun I've ever had on a stage.
Yeah.
Ever. I love it. It is. And the movie, if you're familiar with the movie, then think about completely opposite for the stage version. They changed so much in the film version that I think didn't work, and then in the stage version, it's just so successful. But yeah, I did Vegas for a year, and then I went and did the cruise ship for 6 months on Norwegian Cruise Lines, and yeah, I would go back and do that show in a heartbeat.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know why they do that. I mean, in general, it's like if it's working, then why? Like, you paid to have the rights to this material that you are adapting. So then why are you changing? Like, you must have liked what you saw. And I just think that's so weird. Like, I understand some changes, but I actually was just reviewing Bye Bye Birdie 1963 on my other channel. And that is totally, well, not totally, very different from the stage musical.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what? Why? I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Yeah. You know, and I think with Rock of Ages, it came at a time too where like they took the lead bad guy, the German guy, and they made it Catherine Zeta-Jones. So like I think they were like, oh, let's bring in a strong female character into this, which cool. I wasn't wrong. I wasn't mad at that, but it's changing a lot of what's behind it. They changed some of the songs around, and then Tom Cruise's part as Stacey Jacks changed a lot. I thought he was hysterical, but I think what worked so well in the musical didn't translate well to screen. But
yeah,
well, the show itself was so much fun.
Yeah, I want to see it one of these days. Well, I noticed on your Instagram that you were in an Edward Scissorhands musical.
Yes.
So that sounds intriguing.
There's a theater in LA. Sadly, it didn't survive the pandemic, but there's a lot of productions that went there that now are going elsewhere, which is still good. But it was called the Rockwell Table and Stage, and we brought in tons of movie adaptations, like musicals for that. So we did I did Jurassic Park and Bridesmaids and Edward Scissorhands, and Edward Scissorhands are actually getting ready to do a staged kind of reading version of it in LA, I think in June. So if you're in LA and you're interested, go check it out. It's gonna be awesome. I won't be a part of this one, but it was so much fun. We have an amazing composer and piano player and just musical genius that rewrites a lot of popular songs and puts them into this, and we do it just in a way where it's legal, but it's so cool to take all these films and put in current popular music and rewrite the stories a little bit to have them fit into a stage world. And yeah, it was a cool musical.
Interesting. I didn't realize that it was like kind of jukeboxy.
Yeah, that's the way that they adapted them for the Rockwell Table and Stage.
Cool. Calling all fans of Outlander and time travel romance, new from Gabriel Meyer comes a dramatic time-crossing tale set in 3 separate timelines. Maggie inherited a gift from her parents that allows her to live in 1861, 1941, and 2001. Each night, she goes to sleep in one time period and wakes up in another. She faces a difficult journey to discover her true self while drawn to 3 worthy gentlemen before she must choose one life to keep and the rest to lose. Buy in this moment for 30% off and free shipping at bakerbookhouse.com. That's bakerbookhouse.com. Well, so you were the wrong guy, Brandon, in the Happy Camper.
I think misunderstood.
Misunderstood. But we thought you were a fun wrong guy. And you were in the, because a lot of times the wrong guys, they'll be at the very beginning where they kind of dump the heroine and then they'll come back at the end. But you came back pretty mid of the movie. So you were in it quite a bit. And we thought you were funny. So how did you end up getting that role and what was that like?
That role is 100% thanks to my wife. So my wife played Vivian in Happy Camper, Andy.
Oh,
and she was in the engagement plot with Trevor Donovan. She played the second female lead under Kelsey, or she played Kelsey in the engagement plot. So after the engagement plot, I went to the cast party and I met Brandon, the director, and Brian and one of the producers. And that night they were like, hey, is your husband an actor? We want to see him read for this next role. We just like his vibe. So I read for the next role, and then I was able to get it. So it was
Nice.
as easy as that. Sometimes it works out that way, but Andy, in order to get the engagement plot, the director had told her at one point he was going through like 200 self-tapes late night, and just something about her stuck out, and he goes, great, got it, boom. And it's amazing when you just always try to put in the work and try to put out your best work, and sometimes there's something in there that catches someone's eye, and then that's kind of what brought us both into this family here in Colorado, and kind of made us a part of these films. So that's how I got into Happy Camper.
So this one wasn't filmed in Canada, like so many of these.
No, so specifically with this team, Brian Bird is actually based 6 minutes that way here in Castle Rock, and they're trying to bring great local films here to Colorado.
Okay.
That's kind of their big mission. One of our other producers, Larry, lives a half hour down in Monument, and I think there's really great tax breaks you get for filming out here, but also they're passionate about bringing things back to their hometown and kind of where they are based out of. And there's a lot of great local talent here. There's a lot, big pool to pick from. And then they usually fly in, obviously, like Brittany and Rob and Daniela and Bo from Happy Camper. They fly them in, but they pick a lot of us here from Colorado.
Ah, cool. That's good. That's good. So was it kind of fun playing the wrong guy? Kind of getting into this character?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I would say 90% of what I've done in my career has usually been the bad guy or the jerk, or like in Edward Scissorhands, I played Jim, and I was just a complete jerk. And I love it, because my favorite thing about playing the bad guy or the wrong guy is to make them likable, because somebody likes them in that world. They're not just jerks to be jerks. Like, Daniela, her character, was dating me for a reason. There has to be something likable about me. So I love getting into who they are on the surface and how they're kind of coming across the audience, but digging down into what actually motivates this guy? What parts of him are good and fun and light to bring into this? And at the end of the day, with Brandon, he was just selfish. He was in it for himself. And, that was pretty clear to see with the writing towards the end of it. But it's fun to really dive into these characters that I think you're not supposed to like. And I like to try to challenge that and make people like that character.
Was it fun filming that scene where you're doing the painting?
Oh my goodness. That entire shoot was like record low temperatures in Colorado. So that was my very first day filming, actually. And underneath that paint suit, I'm wearing a sweater just like this, which is basically a t-shirt, and light jeans. And that was it. And it was, 8 degrees, 9 degrees outside. So by our third or fourth take, I'm just sitting there trying to make my mouth move and try to get the words out, because it was so cold. And being my first day, of course, I leave that day. I was like, that was awful. I did so bad because I couldn't even move my mouth. It was so cold, and it ended up being one of my favorite scenes.
I'm sorry, I can't remember if you could see your breath, if it was that cold.
I don't know if it came across in that one, but I know that next scene where we do like kind of that walk and talk outside, that one too.
Oh yeah.
So cold. But it's funny because here I am as, the actor being like, oh, it's freezing, but in between takes, I got to go throw a jacket on. I got to go into a nice warm place. And then you've got this crew that's out there for an hour getting the shot set up, and they're all just freezing, so I always like to keep perspective on, like, it was cold, but it was cold in short spurts for me.
Well, I mean, it's good practice, because if you get in a Christmas movie, which you should totally, hopefully be in one, then you're going to have the reverse. It's going to be a million degrees and you're going to have a coat on, and
yeah. And I'm going to have to be like, ooh,
yeah, freezing.
It certainly doesn't feel like July.
Yeah. It
was incredible. It was my first experience really being in the elements as an actor.
Uh-huh.
Musical theater, a lot of times it's indoors and it's all controlled. And with the other stuff I had done with film, I hadn't done a lot of outside cold stuff. It gave me an instant respect for that craft and how tough it is to focus and be in the moment when there's so many outside elements fighting you. Like instant. It was like, okay, like I got to just get rid of everything in my brain and just focus, because I can't just show that I'm freezing and I'm shaking. So
yeah. Was this your biggest part that you'd had up until then?
yes, in the TV kind of film space, this was the biggest one I had.
Well, that must have been exciting.
Oh my gosh. I loved it. It was so much fun. I think in the musical theater world, I found a niche where it was like, cool, I kind of fit this space, and I found a lot of work, which was great. And in the TV film world, especially out in LA, if they want a good looking guy, there's someone way better looking than me. If they want someone that's in good shape, there's someone in way better shape. Like no matter how good a shape you are, how good looking you are, how character you are, how funny you are, there's always someone in like so much better than you. And it's so hard to fit in and find it. So finding this little home here and getting a chance to just play, because that's what they really helped out with in this process. Like the whole crew and the director and Brian and everybody, they just let us play and have fun and explore it for ourselves. And they nudged us in the direction they wanted us to go in. So yeah, it was my biggest role, the most fun I'd had. And then of course with just Jake, Tommy, I think he was a little bit bigger of a role, but still a lot of fun.
But the truth is that's just true in life. There's always somebody else. I mean, maybe for Michael Phelps, there's like one person.
Yes.
The best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like other than that, like for the most part, there's always, even in podcasting, there's always somebody who seems to be figuring it out more than me, seems to be making more money than, getting more of a listenership, getting more patron, whatever you can compare it to. There's always somebody, and you make yourself crazy thinking like that, especially, I mean, like you're saying, in the world of acting. Yeah, it's tough when like they say, comparison is the thief of joy.
I love that.
Yeah,
that rings so true in so many industries, but especially in ours, like entertainment. And comparing is hard.
It must have been fun working with had to have a couple that's a real life couple at the lead of the movie, to have Danielle and Bo. That must have been fun.
Oh, it was awesome. And fun fact, Happy Camper, COVID testing every day. So my first day on set, I go in, I get my COVID test, and as I'm sitting there waiting, the lady administering the test is like, wait, what's your birthday? 4/30/86? Oh man, I must have messed something up, because I feel like I just wrote that down. And I was like, what? It turns out that Bo had just got his done before me. Bo was born on the exact same day, same year as me. So we're like hours apart. So then, of course, I go find Bo, and my very first time meeting him, I was like, birthday buddy, what's up? And then, we became very quick friends. But it was awesome because their relationship and chemistry on set was like so fun to watch. And then Andy, who played Vivian, was my wife. So like it was just really, it fit the mold of what I think true brand entertainment does so well, is they just they make this an entire family experience, whether it's real family or just your work family. It was really cool being part of that.
Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of times couples in real life, the chemistry isn't as great as you'd think. And I think that the reason why is because there's a certain like relaxed nature to a couple that are together, that sometimes translates a little bland, I think. Because you'd be surprised how many times you watch you think, oh, the chemistry is going to be so great, and it's actually not great. And so I was really happy because I was a big fan of The Middle. I was happy to see that they were getting this movie, but then also that it translated to screen, because they weren't a couple on The Middle.
No.
you know. But anyway, I was glad to see, especially that ending kiss was so good.
No, it was, and that for them too. I wasn't there for the filming that day, but that day was also very cold outside. She was wearing that skirt. Like, I just remember hearing of how cold they were, and then of course I do like that paint scene, and I was like, oh, I get it now. It's freezing out here. Yeah, no, they were adorable and just as much fun off camera and welcoming and just the nicest people.
Yeah, I hope that they get more. I hope they keep using them, because I thought they were really strong, and I'd like to see more.
Yeah.
But
I want to do a spin-off with me and Bo.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I want.
Yeah, birthday buddies.
I don't care. Yeah, there we go. Birthday buddies.
Yeah.
The new Christmas movie filmed in July.
Yes.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
You have Just Jake coming up for UpTV. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the movie?
Just Jake is, your typical rom-com storyline. Guy and a girl, they're in love. Guy leaves to a big city. He realizes he's not happy. He comes back and magically he runs into the girl that's still in the small town. They might fall back in love. And by might, I mean absolutely. But within that, they really focused on the music element here. So Rob Mays, who played Jake, he leaves because he becomes famous on like their version of TikTok, what we call Yin Yang, as a singer-songwriter. And so he moves to Nashville and he's trying to make his living as a singer-songwriter, which was his dream. And he's just struggling to find his song. Can't get the words out, can't really find that next big song. And the film starts with him basically getting dropped by his label out there. And I'm his best friend, but also manager in the movie. And so I have a brilliant idea that I'm like, let's go back to his hometown. Let's go find his music. And it's so fun because both Brittany and Rob are just amazing artists. Like actors, singers, songwriters. Like Rob is a fantastic vocalist and guitar player, and they incorporate music so much into this, which I think is a really fun thing because it adds such a nice element of cool original music mixed in with this storyline.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a fun dynamic because he gets discovered, like you're saying, on the TikTok, because he's like singing at the gas station.
He's a tow truck driver. Like,
tow truck.
Yeah.
And they overhear him, and so he gets kind of picked up that way. But he is, I guess, struggling to write his first album. And so he ends up getting dropped at the beginning, but everybody in the town thinks he's like a big star.
Yeah.
So he comes back, and Brittany is mad at him because he kind of dumped her when he went off to find fortune and fame. And so there's kind of a fun dynamic with the two of them. And
I think the secret of him being dropped, because it's something that no one else knows besides me, that secret is so fun to watch Rob negotiate, because there's so many opportunities where Brittany's character is like, wait a minute, I know something's wrong, and he's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. It's that internal struggle and battle, and then realizing that she's the piece that can fix everything. So it's you know, I've got goosebumps sitting here thinking about it. It's just,
Yeah.
it's fun, wholesome content. It's really a cute movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. We've been kind of taking the approach of for Upside, we've been kind of taking the approach of we just cover the movies that stand out to us, the movies that we like. And so there'd been a couple misses, the ones that just weren't for me. And then this one I saw and I was like, yeah, that one was a good one. I liked that one. I was like, it's
cool.
cover worthy.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, recap worthy. And I mean, I knew that Rob could sing because he's done a couple other musical type roles. So, you know, that was natural, but I did think that him and Brittany had nice chemistry together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a star. She's awesome.
Yeah. We love her. She's great.
Yeah. I only got to do really one scene with her, and she left early out of that scene anyways, but like she was awesome to work with, and it was cool working with Rob. Like he's a pro through and through, so it's always fun kind of jumping into a world where, you know, they've been doing this a lot and they have a lot of experience and they've been around, and kind of feeding off that energy and kind of matching that is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And this had the same director as Happy Camper, Brandon Clark. So that must be nice. Kind of you're in the pocket, you know, kind of how he does things. Yeah.
And he's so smart. His family's been in the industry for a long time. He's worked basically every job in TV and film that you can do. So he understands everyone's role and understands the pressures of it and how hard it is. And he's so good at creating an environment where everyone is just in it together and no one's yelling unless it's fake yelling. I don't know if you ever watched any of the Instagram things with Polly, our angry gaffer. We all love Polly, but we make fun of him that he just yells all the time. But he finds his own little way to communicate with each individual actor and knows exactly what they need to hear. And with some people, it's a little bit more pushing, a little more direction. With others, it's just letting us play and do more takes. And it's a really fun environment with him.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I think people will really enjoy it. So congrats on making the movie. Hope we get to see you in more.
Thank you.
We like to end with some fun get to know you questions.
Sweet.
So, first question, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Cookie dough.
Okay, good.
But like big chunks of fresh cookie dough.
Okay. Yeah. I like cookie dough ice cream. I don't like these places where you get like scoops of cookie dough.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, no. Cookie dough ice cream. Sorry.
Yeah,
good,
I like
vanilla ice cream with chunks of cookie dough.
I'm with you there, but it's just too sweet having I don't know. I'm just not. I don't.
Yeah, like
I've
tried the cookie dough itself, and yeah, same. It's too fun much until it's not.
Agreed. All right. What's your favorite color?
Favorite color, blue. Any blue.
Yeah. Good. What music are you into?
Oh gosh, I have the worst taste in music. It's typically either boy bands or musical theater. It's awful. My wife is like, her musical journey is like this, and I'm like, so she tries to get me into more country, more jazz. I'm like,
Do you have a particular show that's your favorite that you listen to the most?
Like a show,
a
like
Broadway show.
Oh, Broadway show. Probably Rock of Ages, honestly. It pops up a lot. I think I've had that CD in my car because I still have a car with a CD player. I've had that CD in my car since 2015 when I bought the car. And it's one of those where, you know, every other week I'm like, listen to this today. So that one's fun. Really, whatever, a lot of stuff just pops into my head randomly. Like lately it's been Beetlejuice because I've finally gotten around to like going through that album, listening to it, and it's really fun. I was randomly singing Wicked this morning. So yeah.
Cool. Good. All right. What is your go-to date night food?
Go-to date night food? Any sort of pizza. Love pizza. And I'm in Castle Rock and we have some really good pizza shops down here.
Your favorite toppings?
Pepperoni.
Yeah.
I'm super basic.
Okay, good. All right. What's your go-to date night activity if you're going to do something?
It changed once we had a kid.
Mhm.
Now that our go-to date night activity is after we get him down, it's, hey, let's sit on the couch and watch an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Let's
Oh,
do
there
that.
we go.
We're going through it for our 18th time at this point. But prior to that, good date night activity. We always loved putt-putt, going out to do that or going out to see a movie together.
Mhm. Yeah, there you go. All right. Which do you like better, dogs or cats?
Cats.
Cats.
Only because we
Okay,
have 2
good.
cats and they act more like dogs. But I grew up with golden retrievers all my life and I
Aw.
love dogs, but cats are so much easier.
But you have to earn cats' love.
Yeah, we did. And we got it, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
One of them is like our super social kitty. Anyone comes to the door, she's like, "Hey, what's up? Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? I'm Max. Welcome to my house." And the other one is like, he's a little skittish until you earn it, and then he's just a cuddle bug.
Fun. All right. Which do you like better, beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
Yeah. What's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Christmas.
Yeah. It's hard to beat Christmas because it's like a whole season.
It's a whole season, and it's like the one that family always comes together. And
Yeah.
it's the Christmas tree and the lights, and there's so many traditions built in with Christmas, from food to activities to family. Like it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
Last question. What is your favorite Hallmark or romantic movie?
If I'm going rom-com, not necessarily Hallmark, it's too mainstream for that, but The Proposal.
Okay.
And Reynolds, Sandra Bullock. Oh my goodness. And then I don't have, my mom is a huge Hallmark fan. Like when she found out Andy was filming Engagement Plot with Trevor Donovan, she lost her mind. Was so excited.
Yeah.
So I don't have a specific favorite Hallmark one, but I will say, as biased as this may sound, it'd probably be Happy Camper or Just Jake.
Yeah.
Not even just because I'm in them, but I've watched Happy Camper 9 or 10 times at this point. Not even just to show other people. I just watch it because it's a fun movie.
It is a good movie.
Just Jake, I've already been through a few times as well. So
cool. Well, very good. You answered all the questions.
Yay!
Well, where can people follow you on social media or that kind of fun stuff?
Social media, I'm terrible at Instagram, so you're not going to see anything super fun. But it's Keir_K. And other than that, I don't really do social media. But my wife is very good at social media. She's the one in the family that takes care of all that. But yeah, check out Just Jake. It starts streaming on the app May 5th. If you got the app, and it starts streaming on cable May 21st through UPTV. Go and watch Happy Camper if you haven't done that yet. You'll see a lot of familiar faces between those movies.
Great. We'd like to thank Keir for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun to get to talk with him and let us know what you think about things we talked about in the comments or on Twitter. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group, which is so much fun, and the merch store. So please take a look at that. And thanks everybody. And thanks to Keir. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.